Welcome back to Combat Sports Weekly. This is the roundtable. Of course, each guy typically gets 30 seconds to give their thoughts on a couple of topics that I'll actually be throwing out. But since we're down to just a couple of people, guys, we're going to kind of freestyle this one. So let's go ahead and get the roundtable going. Introducing first, he's a flyweight in the UFC. Borg, welcome.
Hey,
Mexican Devil.
Yep. Hey, thanks, man. You know, happy to be on your show.
It's a pleasure to have you. We had you as a guest earlier, so welcome back.
Hey, no problem.
To his right of the screen, of course, McClary, former member of the Low Blow MMA Boxing Podcast. What's it going to take to get you back on the Low Blow, man?
Man, you know what? I'll be back next week. How's that?
Oh, man. We have guaranteed breaking news here, folks.
There we go. Got on tape.
It's a huge week. We're previewing one of the biggest fights, I think, that out of our lives that we've ever seen, or as far as money value. But I wanted to ask you guys this. Before we go into Mayweather-Pacquiao, we'll touch base on them a little bit. Who do you feel is the greatest boxer of our all time, and where is the winner of Mayweather and Pacquiao going to rank after it? If we have a winner, of course. Will, I'll start with you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show,
of
by the
course.
way. That is a difficult question, but if we're referring to the greatest fighter of all time inside of a boxing ring, I'm going to have to go with Sugar Ray Robertson.
Okay.
Of course, he had the power to inadvertently, with no disrespect to the late Jimmy Doyle, who unfortunately he died in the ring, and he could tame any raging bull. And just his knockout record, his win record, I would have to go with Sugar Ray Robertson. In the sense of ranking Mayweather and Pacquiao based on this fight, with so many great fighters, I'll just have to say it's safe to assume that they would be somewhere in the top 10.
Yeah. Pick a spot.
I would say if we're going to go with Mayweather, if he's able to remain undefeated when he eventually retires, maybe trumps Rocky Marciano's record, easily number 3. Manny Pacquiao, if he's able to pull off this fight, I would rank him at number 8.
Yeah. Okay. Ray, you seem like you'd be a Muhammad Ali guy.
No, I'm going to go the opposite way. And, I mean, I'm not much into the boxing world, you know, other than when I first, you know, started training at FIT and got more into my striking game. So, you know, I can't really give a great standpoint on who the best boxer is of all time. I can tell you who my personal favorite is boxer of all time, which is Joe Frazier. That's my favorite boxer of all time. You know, I felt like, you know, when he fought Ali, you know, I love his fluidity. You know, he was keeping just a constant pace of just up and down, you know, the whole entire fight. So in my opinion, that's who I would feel in my eyes as one of the best boxers of all time.
That's pretty good. As far as, you know, Mayweather or Pacquiao, do you feel, I mean, just seeing them in the ring, do you feel they're among the greats? Would you put them top 10? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why. I mean, people say that Floyd lacks, like, you know, activity as far as his fights go. You know, he's boring, he runs a lot. But, I mean, if he can, I mean, he's winning fights, he's getting money. So I don't see why in the boxing world, why he wouldn't be, you know, anywhere from top, you know, from 1 through 5 in the best of all time rankings. If he, like how he said, if he keeps that undefeated record, I don't see why he wouldn't end up in that. And then, you know, as Pacquiao, if Pacquiao can beat him, I definitely don't understand why he wouldn't be in the top 10 greatest of all times, because Floyd Mayweather is supposed to be talked about to be one of the greatest of all time, and he beats him. So, you know, it would only make sense that he gets put in the top 10.
It definitely will. Just very quickly on my part, I think Henry Armstrong, to me, is the greatest fighter of all time, just based on what he was able to do to jump in weight classes over a year and a half. He almost jumped, you know, he almost had 3 titles in a year and a half. Back in the time where it was like the UFC, where you had those huge gaps in weights. Right. So for me, I think he would be it. I guess to move on more with Mayweather and Pacquiao on the next question, does this fight hurt or help boxing? I'll go to you for this one, since you're the MMA guy. What do you feel that this fight is going to do for the sport? Is it too big for its own good?
I read, you know, the ticket sales. I read, you know, the pay, and I'm just like, there's that type of money in sports nowadays? Like, really? Yeah. So, I mean, as far as the fight goes, me personally, I don't understand how it can be bad for the sport of boxing, because it's the fight. Like, that's what it's about, is making the fights that the fans want to see happen. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, you know, the fans are actually paying your bills, because if you can't bring fans in the seats, you're not going to get paid. So it's what the fans want to see. And the fans have been wanting to see Mayweather and Pacquiao for the longest time. Then, you know, I don't see how it could be bad for the sport, because they're finally making it happen. And, you know, it can only bring good to the sport.
Well, we've been talking about this fight for the better part of 5 years.
At least.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Does it hurt or help the sport?
It's interesting that this fight has been titled the fight of the century, you know, similar to Ali and Frazier back in 1971. So to have it finally here is, of course, satisfactory for hardcore fans. For casual boxing fans, these are the two biggest names that they know in boxing. So if this disappoints, I would assume that they wouldn't go on to watch, premier boxing champions. And let's be clear too, these fighters are at the end of their career. So even if it is a spectacular fight, which I hope it is, they can only follow Manny and Floyd for so long, 2 and 3 years. But I definitely, as we've discussed in the past too, boxing's not going anywhere. So even if the fight is a flop, there's always poverty, we're always going to keep boxing. But if these two boxing giants can deliver pugilism at its finest, this will definitely help boxing.
Yeah, I think it's helped it so far just because I've had a lot of just casual fans come up to me and say, hey, I've been checking out that PBC on CBS, because you just can't miss it. All these PBC, the Premier Boxing Champions, have been on like every channel, so it's kind of hard to miss.
Prime time.
So it's definitely helping it on the way up. I think if the fight's decent, I'd say maybe a B plus or A minus fight. I think it definitely helps and carries it over a little bit. Is boxing going to become one of the top 4 sports in the United States? No, I don't think so. I mean, is it going to trump baseball or basketball?
No.
Or football? Absolutely not, but at least it'll stay. It's become a niche sport, but it's a hardcore niche sport. But nonetheless, I think all of us are excited for this fight, and definitely happy that it's getting all the amount of eyes that it'll be getting this weekend. Guys, time for a prediction. I'll start with you, Ray. Mayweather or Pacquiao, and why?
I feel like Floyd will win a decision. The reason why I feel like Floyd will win a decision is because, Floyd has his, on the rope style of his defense, which is going to be, I mean, it showed Maidana, he put his hands on him, but not really solid connection. Yeah. And, Maidana has like a real, flurry style, which kind of Pacquiao has more of like a straight edge technical flurry style. So, and the thing with Pacquiao, the reason why I'm choosing Mayweather is Mayweather's money thing is his fallback right hand. And then, Pacquiao's known to, eat right hands with his jolt forward style. So I'm picking, I think Mayweather will start to pick him apart in the later rounds, and I pick him by decision.
By decision, I think a lot of people feel that way. Will, I think you're thinking along the same lines?
I would have to agree. I think that Floyd Mayweather will beat a very determined Manny Pacquiao by a majority decision. And the reason for that, I will have to say that Floyd has been one of the greatest fighters to make adjustments, always a way to find the win. We've seen him dazed, we've seen him knocked down, but he always finds a way to win. And he's never lost before, so why bet against him now? Pacquiao is a great opponent, but I just think the versatility and Floyd's ability to be elusive and turn off the power and turn it on whenever he wants is going to get him the win.
I think it's a very interesting matchup, the way the two are set. Obviously, the southpaw that Manny Pacquiao is, and the fact that we've seen Floyd Mayweather struggle against southpaws, especially Zab Judah. Zab Judah almost put him down, or technically did put him down, but they didn't count his knockdown because the glove did touch the ground after he caught a shot. Other guys that are quick with the one-time punch. Remember Shane Mosley.
Absolutely.
Obviously, he's an orthodox fighter, so not the lefty. But I think Manny carries. The old man used to carry that type of fire and power. But over the last 4 years, I think we've seen Pacquiao slowly decline with power, but his speed is still there.
Absolutely.
So, nonetheless, I mean, if there's a knockout, who has it and in what round? Very quickly.
If there's a knockout, I think Mayweather has it in the 5th round.
If there's a knockout, I think that Mayweather will have it in the 9th round.
In the 9th? I'm going stoppage. I'm picking both guys if it were to happen. If Pacquiao wins it by knockout, which I do not think is going to happen, it'll be middle rounds, probably 5th or 6th round. But definitely Mayweather will wear him down in the 10th round. But personally, if I have to put my prediction on the record here, Mayweather's going to win this by a close decision. I mean, 115, 113, I think, across the board. So I think we're hyped, guys. You guys ready for it?
I'm ready for it. Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, 5 years in the making. Yeah. So we deserve it, and I can't wait to see it.
We'll get ready to shell out those $100+ for it. Hopefully, I don't know how tight they'll be with those streaming websites that all of you typically go to find it. But nonetheless, we'd like to thank you guys for coming. Again, this show was dedicated to the memory of Alon Sanchez. Our condolences go out to the Sanchez family.